There we go. All right, we're recording, and I see Barb is on here as well. Sharon Luella, woohoo! Tell me, Sharon, how's the sound? I think I figured out the glitches from last time. All right, like I was saying, it's so nice to have Loralee with us today as part of our Resilient Soul series. And I have been doing these since January. And they are just vibrant discussions on self-care and self-empowerment within our Facebook community and the community at large. So today we're visiting with Loralee Humpherys. And of course, the topic, you saw what the topic was. It definitely relates to the aspects of self-love and self-care that we like to share in this group, among other things. The first one is self-awareness. Loving yourself unconditionally, even the parts that you don't particularly like maybe digestive issues. And those are things that Loralee is going to help you look into. Also, that self-care, of course, that's part of every aspect of life. And then that self-trust, being able to connect with someone who's going to build you up and help you have a stronger relationship with yourself, whether it's your physical needs, your emotional needs, your spiritual needs, or just your creative aspirations. So we're here with Loralee, and she supports spiritual, professional, stressed out women with digestive issues. So I'm going to let Loralee get on here and give us a little intro, a bio about herself, and then we'll start asking questions. So if you're watching and you have any questions you'd like to present or comments, feel free to post them down below, and let's get started.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here. So for most of your audience, you probably haven't met me yet. So I'm Loralee Humpherys, and my healing journey began in college when I was confronted with a lot of changes and didn't know how to make sense of the world. And so that just unfolded from one thing to the next And I did a deep dive into emotional healing work, which led me to being introduced to a healer, psychic healer that does energy healing work. And I worked with her for many years, and she had a hugely profound effect on my life, taught me so many things about myself and healing and about the body. And then after that, during that time, I also went back to school, to massage school, and developed a great understanding of the body, because at the time I wasn't connected to my body at all. And so over the course of time, then I really came to understand a lot of it through my own experience, that the impact of emotional energies, when we can't resolve them, don't know what to do with them, and how they impact health, specifically gut health, because we carry so much of our stress in our belly. And that leads to all kinds of emotional eating is rooted a lot in the unresolved emotional energy stuck in the gut. And then from there, when you have poor food choices, especially when it's tied to stress and emotional angst, over time, the physical tissues of the digestive system and the organs inevitably will break down. And then that's when we start to have all the experiences of the gut issues, which we then, it's like we come into this loop of emotional stress, eating, the gut tissues have their response to that. Then we don't know what to do with them. We haven't understood our body very well. So we start to criticize ourselves and think very poorly of those organs in that area of the body. We don't like it. And so then we just go into that loop. So I learned a lot of that in my own journey, and how to unravel that, how to understand it, and then unravel it. And I also learned along the way, I went back to school again for holistic nutrition, and then subsequently became a health coach to tie all of this together, so that now I help women, as you had said, deal with gut health, stress, emotional things, so that you can thrive and take back control of your life again.
Yes, I love what you said there about we kind of lose sight of what we need to do. We become critical, our stomachs are getting worse, or the other the other things that happen when our gut is not happy. And we can start on that healing path, and it sounds like you started on it in college. Would you say honestly that there have been any times between then and now that you've kind of lost track of that zeal and had to get yourself back and focused on your gut health, or have you been real good at sticking to, all of those strategies and things that you know are good for you? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Ah, I would say it's been kind of like a continual progressive upward. I don't really say plateau, but take rest stops for a while. I mean, it was so for me. My some people start with they've got physical issues they have to address, and so their body's talking very loudly. For me, it was my emotional health, and it was very challenging for many years, and that's why I'm so grateful for that healer to teach me how to deal with my emotional stuff through meditation, through energy healing work, and understanding the energetic emotional makeup of the body, or energetic makeup. So I got to this place once I learned a few basics that I knew if I wanted my life to function and work in any capacity, I had to. It wasn't really much of a choice. I had to deal with
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was challenging, and it took some time, and I had to be very persistent. And when something would trigger, I know, from my days, and I know I would need to come home, lay down, sit down, do a meditation, do some journaling about it till I could feel the energy within me shift. And then from there, I developed the understanding of the process of how to do it, which I can now teach others, of how to work through those emotional things. And so that was kind of like the underlying theme of my life for a good while. And in terms of understanding my body, I was, as I said, rather disconnected from it for a while. And it wasn't until after I'd gone into massage school and gradually started learning how to take better care of it, partly through learning from my teacher healer and how she took care of her body. And so that's when I first learned about the importance of food, the role of food, and changing up my diet. And that took a while. It's hard to make those changes when all you've been taught about eating is whatever that is. And now you've got to make like a 90-degree turn to eat differently. And so if anything, then that's where I would do like a stop and a start and stop and a start.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always a continual thing. And then, gradually over the last few years, it's just been, I guess, more synthesizing or bringing that more together in a much deeper way, to where it's like I have a solid base of who I am, what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
So many things that
Mm-hmm.
bothered me before are they're gone because I've worked through them.
Yes.
And so now it's just the continual support of the body and fine tuning.
Yep. I can understand that. And there were several years myself that I struggled with emotional eating, and not necessarily digestive upsets, because I could eat like a cow and be, fine. My stomach would never get irritated. However, it was the emotional and the mindset of gaining weight, of binge eating or whatever, that really stole my peace as a person, and my physical being. I just felt kind of in a trap, and I felt like I didn't even have time. And this is a mindset thing that I'm sure you've heard from some of your clients. I felt like I didn't even have time when I got home to do the meditation, to calm down, to relax, because I often had to bring my work home and work till sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning to get the paperwork done, which was probably part of my career that I chose, but also maybe a lack of planning on my part where I was running a little bit late. But, you know, I like that you brought up the fact, and when you filled out your form, that it's a developed skill to be able to sense energies that you have in your body that are either helping you thrive or keeping you stuck. And there's a big connection between, you know, the three that we were talking about just a little bit ago. And can you tell us a little bit about that connection between our, you know, our emotions and our health and our gut and, you know, different things like that? You know, what kind of in a nutshell, what is the connection there that kind of keeps us off kilter sometimes, or if we are aware of it, can keep us on an even keel?
Okay. All right. So let me just preface that by first saying we are energetic beings. We are made of electricity, electrical energy, and magnetic energy. That runs through us all the time and extends outward about 6 feet around us. That's what people call the energy field or the aura. In other areas, industries call it the biofield. We have not been taught that our energy system exists. That's one of the reasons why people have such a difficult time with it. We are wired, we are hardwired to be intuitive, to sense and feel and see our energy system and that of other people. It's been shut down, it's been atrophied. A lot of the diet, the food choices contribute to this state. So to give you kind of like a nutshell, the connection between all of that, in our abdomen, there is a lot of nerves. It's called right below the rib cage. It's called the solar plexus. It's a huge ganglia of nerve. It's also called the third chakra, or the third energy center, that innervates, or that the nerves from that area innervate all of the digestive organs. It's also known as our second brain, the gut, the intestines. That's been very well studied.
I have heard that before, but to be honest with you, I can't really, you know, flesh it all out in my head. It seems a little scientific.
Okay, so let me just lay it out for you. So we have from the spine, from the spinal cord, we've got this big, huge nerve ganglia that comes through from the spine into the abdomen. We also have one of the 12 cranial nerves. So there's like 12 major nerves that come out below the brain to innervate the face. One of them, called the vagus nerve, travels down into the gut. And it's one of the major communication pathways between the gut and the brain. So you've got these two sources of large nerve networks. There's constantly communicating signals back and forth between the two areas. When we have an upset of any kind, a stress, like a financial or relationship disaster that you could not move beyond, all of that emotional angst is energy. When we have a hard time processing and letting go and making sense and coming to peace, that energy sits in the gut, sits in that area of our energy system, and it agitates and it stresses and it agitates, because we can't make peace with it. We don't know how. Okay?
Right. And I can really sense that in myself a lot of times, and some of my clients that I work with, and having a clear path for how to settle that down, because I know that nerves and stress and energy, I love how you're describing it, because I can almost visualize it, you know, inside of me. So I love that. And what do we do, you know, when it gets all that tangled up?
Okay, so let me finish and I'll get to that. So all of that energetic agitation, all of the nerves in the gut register that, and they send it to the brain, and there's all this communication back and forth. There's a lot of neurotransmitters, there's a lot of biochemicals made in the gut as a result of that energetic emotional upset. Those chemicals affect our brain fog, or our brain clarity, our mood, our weight, our endocrine system, our digestion, everything runs on chemicals. So you've got this whole chemical cascade of off-kilterness. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that drives us to eat and to do things, act out in ways that don't support our health, get depressed, all the things. You know, everybody has their version of upset. So how do you break that? Breathing is one of the simplest and easiest and most immediate ways. Okay. Where I talked about the vagus nerve that comes from the bottom of the brain down into the gut, that is very connected to the autonomic, or you think of it as automatic nervous system of controlling the heart rate, the breathing, the digestive processes. We can interject into that, the functioning of that nerve through our breath. Okay. So you can do this for several, like 3 to 5 minutes is all you really need. You breathe in for 7 counts, you'll hold for 3, breathe out for 7 counts, hold for 3, breathe in for 7 counts, hold for 3, breathe out for 7 counts, and hold for 3. So you're kind of doing this box in your mind of how you're breathing. Do that for like 3 minutes, 3 to 5, if you really need to get more control. That will settle the nervous system down, which settles a lot of the nerves in the gut down. Okay, in the immediacy of the craziness of the day, that's what you can do right then when you're sitting at your desk, when you're driving, when you're wherever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I do strongly believe in the, the scientific ness of deep breathing to keep it calm. And I think if we were able to, correct me if I'm wrong on this, if we were able to diffuse those nerves more consistently throughout the day with making certain changes in our lifestyle or our responses or something like that, doesn't that in itself just tone down the digestive issues?
It absolutely helps. It does. It's a big, important first step.
Right. I know it's not the end, that's for sure.
It's just a big, important first step so that you can calm yourself in the moment.
Yes.
So that you don't lash out, do something you regret later, or eat something. So it's in the moment. Okay. And then the next step, and this is where the work and the discipline comes in, is carve out like 30 minutes of your day somewhere for you. Prioritize yourself. And I know that's difficult for a lot of women to do, but carve out 30 minutes, like right before you go to bed or when you get home or somewhere, so that you can just start jotting down. And I like to say the importance of journaling cannot be understated.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
You look at whatever was the upset, and you just write down, very matter of fact, a sentence at a time, without the drama, without the story. This thing happened. This person said that. I felt this. I said that. I responded to this. So that you can have just a bullet point record of what happened that day. And then just getting that out helps calm everything down, as well as helps connect your mind with the gut health, all the different reactions to things and the relationships. And then you can start to begin to connect some dots and say, okay, I said this thing, or this thing happened. It triggered this pattern, this memory, this issue that I know I've had for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's important. It's so important to identify what that long-standing pattern or issue is, because that is the long-standing energy stuck in your gut that's creating long-term issues for yourself. When you can identify what that pattern is, and a lot of us frankly know what they are, it's just we like to forget about them and eat them away. When you identify
forget about them and eat them away. Oh my gosh, if that wasn't my motto, from time to time, I don't know what was.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's hard. It's hard.
It is. This is where the work comes in. This is where coaching is so important. You can identify that theme, and even deeper than that, what is the deeper thought the deeper belief about yourself, which is really the deep underlying theme, not so much
Yes.
but the deep one. So when you can come down to that, that's when the coaching, the meditation, the energy healing work is so effective in being able to help you move through that and neutralize it, so it's no longer controlling your life and your health.
I love the word neutral. That's one of my favorite words, getting to neutral. And I would say this has just come to mind with you bringing this up. You said at the very beginning that we are not taught how to respond to these things.
Right.
And it's why I guess when we're later in life that we start getting in tune with it, because things have exacerbated with our emotions or with our work situation and our eating and our gut and all that stuff. And then we start adding in these little things consistently to make a difference. And but I think the key of everything, whether it's, crazy work, crazy life, crazy relationships, crazy self, is getting down to the root cause. And I know you have a free guide, don't you, for the people that are listening and the people that are watching the replay on how to discover the root cause when it comes to those underlying digestive issues.
I do. So just to briefly introduce that, it's a free guide to let you know that the root cause of so many gut issues, because so many people spend lots of time, money, practitioner appointments all over the place. They have results and then it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And so you've got to come down to the very, very root cause. And on the physical level, it's a buildup of toxic load within the liver, within the intestines, within the liver. It's a lot of cholesterol and cholesterol and fat that create the gallstones. In the intestinal lining, it's mucoid plaque. That, just think of a pipe. It just clogs and clogs and clogs until there's no flow.
Yeah. If you think of a pipe, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, and that's why we don't like to think of our colon, because we think of what comes to mind is all that congested stuff within the colon pipe. That has to be cleaned out in order for the gut organs and tissues to restore themselves. There's specific processes I walk my clients through to do that. And part of that process, when you're cleaning the physical toxins and waste out, the emotional toxins and waste is emotional energy is also going to come to the surface to be resolved as well. So we first start with cleaning out the physical pipes, and dietary changes is, that's one factor, but to get to the root cause, you've got to get that toxicity and that waste out of your body. Wow. So that's what it introduces you to.
This has been a wonderful, wonderfully informative session, because I've had other people on over the years and, talk with people about digestive health and gut health and things. But somehow the way you explain it, I can see it, I can understand it. And that's really amazing. And I feel like the people in my community that are having issues like that would definitely benefit from your free guide. And so I appreciate you offering that. And we're going to put that down in the bottom in the comments for people to access. And as we get ready to sign off, is there anything specific you'd also like to mention about where they can find you, or if you have a Facebook group that they're welcome to join?
Yeah. So I'm, excuse me, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn under my name, Loralee Humpherys. And I also have a group on Facebook. It's called Tips for Relaxation, Rejuvenation, and Results. Those are the 3 states of being that you can step into as a result of doing the work that I help you do. Yes. So you're welcome to find me there.
Wonderful. And what I'll do is also put those links down in the comments as well. And I really do appreciate you being on here and sharing. And personally, I am extremely thankful for the clarity that I got in these 30 minutes with you, just hearing you describe it. And it makes a lot more sense to me, to be honest with you, because to me, solar plexus, I'm like, what on earth, you know? Um, and maybe I learned about it back in the day, but it's not something that, I keep at the top of my thoughts. And it gives you hope too,
Yeah.
when you know that you have control over how those connections and nerves and things are reacting. So you're not a victim to your body unless you don't address the root causes. If you do, I feel like you see lots of progress if you do get the tools and work with someone that can help you identify exactly what it is that's going on with you and give you an action plan.
Yeah. Yeah. We have so many resources and much more power at our fingertips, and we understand that we do.
We sure do. And I really do. I'm excited, Loralee, that we got to have this chat, that you were willing to take the time and share with our group. And I really appreciate all of you who have been visiting with us today. And those of you that might be watching the replay or the recording, so glad that you're here. And I hope that when you listen, you had to stop the recording a few times and take some notes, because it was really valuable information. And any of you that are listening, if you would like to share something and be featured on our Resilient Soul series, I'll post that link down below. And we're just going to say goodbye and sign off. And thank you again, Loralee, for being here with us and sharing what you shared. I feel like you have a keen understanding of what you're doing. That's why this interview flowed so well.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, and I've seen this in some of my other interviews, a few years back and stuff, they don't really have a clear understanding. So they're trying to quote something that they've read or something like that. And they're not, I just don't feel that they're connected with it the way I feel you're connected with it.
Yeah.
So
you're living it.
yes, you're living it. Well, thank you so much. So we're going to say goodbye to everyone. Check the links.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, and we'll talk later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.